I am a resident of Colorado for you too. That is my buddy Patrick McCray. That's my buddy Alan Gallant. We're here to review Star Trek V: The Final Frontier, directed by William Shatner, screenplay by David Lawther, story by William Shatner, Harv Bennett, David Lawther, based on Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry, produced by Harv Bennett. Cinematographer is Andrew Laszlo, edited by Peter E. Berger. Music is by Jerry Goldsmith. Good choice. Um, Release date June 9th, 1989. Let's
We're almost
see.
in the 90s, folks.
Budget $33 million. Box office $63 million. So, guys, when did you first see this one, Alan? You first.
I saw it opening week, as I did most of these Star Trek movies.
Cool. Cool. Patrick.
Opening day. Opening day.
Very good. I saw this on television. Most
It
kids my
happened.
age.
It
Uh,
definitely happened.
uh,
You
on the
wanted to
side.
see on television.
Hmm.
Yeah. I was listen. I was.
See Bill Shatner live through Lawrence Luckinbill.
It's what.
Larry Luckinbill's pretty good in this thing.
He is actually. He's kind of a pompous ass, and it's perfect for the role. So, yeah.
Yeah. My gosh. Um, I like this film because it's 90% desert. So and I'm a sucker for desert scenery. The Mojave Desert is actually where some of this was filmed. Also, you see what is it? The canyon sequences are done really well. So, guys, what's some of your favorite things about this movie?
Uh, More development of the characters, and the big three stick together even when they've been two of them have been sort of semi hypnotized by Cybok. They still won't go with him. And of course, the great moment that is really the foreshadowing of what's going to happen at the end of the movie is when Spock says, "You have no influence over me. I already know who I am." you know, and he tries to. It's interesting because Cybok is a character that is self-deluded. He's a cult figure. He's a cult of personality guy, but he's deluded into thinking that he's doing nothing except healing people when in fact he's using whatever Vulcan powers he was born with to manipulate people. And he realizes that he's manipulated himself into believing this whole story. Of course, it's one of those kind of journeys that has a decided and final ending, but nonetheless he does, and he saves the crew in so doing. So he sort of redeems himself in that respect.
He gets a snappy haircut to go meet God.
Yeah. And the dude that plays God is great because he goes from, "Oh, you've come so far away," to "Bring the starship closer to me." It's like, it's really good because in the audience you just think, "Oh, here's the sinking feeling."
From Marvel.
Yeah.
When you need, because it is the man behind the curtain
Yeah.
thing. So the starship shows up. Is it just a giant head that floats into the transporter bag? Or
looks like Biondo from the old Tonight Show.
Is the rest of them, proportionately large? How do they strap them to the side? What do they do?
You know who it reminded me of? It reminded me of Zion from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The head and the like tube.
Yep.
That's what it reminded me of. I have a theory about this movie, guys. I want to get your thoughts on this. So the way I take this, I take it was the Spock's people who imprisoned this guy on this planet, and they just made up some myth that said that didn't exist.
Okay. Spock's people imprisoned the evil God man.
Yeah,
it could be
because it's Cybok's theory is that this exists, that this God whatever exists.
So there's been a myth, legend from
Right, a
ancient
myth.
times that's
The,
inspired him. Yeah.
right. And every myth starts somewhere. It may have not started exactly with Cybok. It may have
Oh
started
no, this
on,
is all. Yeah, this myth he talks about. This is something that he's learned,
yeah, he
not
learned
something
it.
he's made up completely. He's added things to it,
Yeah.
but he didn't totally make up the myth.
Yeah, I was sort of curious of where like it was where he learned it exactly.
Hmm.
Um,
And the entity does say that he's been sort of stuck here on this
yeah,
planet and he wants to get off. So
yeah.
there's some logic to what you're saying. Sure.
Yeah, it's sort of weird that way. Like I feel like the I did like the Klingons, the add-on to the because this is still a revenge story. We're still going off the
Yeah.
previous movie,
Yeah.
which I liked.
This is the beginning, for me, this is the beginning of a better relationship between the Federation and the Klingon Empire.
Yeah.
Cooperation at the end, even though it's like they almost like blow each other up, but then they end up working together. So
Is it me or is the captain? Does the Klingon captain look like Worf a bit?
a bit. They're starting to get to that point, I think. Don't forget that by this time, Next Generation's been on the air for a couple of years.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's true. So it can't be.
they've seen it. I'm sure
They've
they've
seen
seen
it.
it.
All
Yeah.
right. I'm sure they did too. I'm sure
Yeah.
they were just copying some of the
They
designs.
also realize that there's a future where the Klingons are more or less allied with the Federation.
Yeah,
So
yeah. What do you guys think of the plot of this movie?
it's kind of an interesting quest. Again, you don't have a real villain. You've got a guy who's deluding himself, and he's kind of not a villain, but more of an opponent, I
Yeah,
guess, because he's not really villainous. He doesn't have an evil plan. He's deluded, but he thinks that what he's doing is right and good, and he wants to bring along a bunch of people with him. So that's not really villain behavior, although
no.
you know, obviously some villainy occurs because of it, and they have to sort of try to fight against his insistence, his psycho insistence, because he has this gift.
Yes.
Yes, I have a question. God, why do you need a spaceship?
Yeah, that's right. That's a great question. And of course, he gets shot for his trouble, but
That's what happens.
that's what happens.
There's so much truth in this.
Mhm.
But I think it makes people very uncomfortable to talk about how much truth there is in it. And so then they turn around and play it and say, well, that's obvious. Well, if it's so bloody obvious, why are you participating in it?
Right.
I've had
Right.
dialogue with people, and then they're not so smart.
Well, this does have a cult commentary running through it because of his ability to sort of mesmerize people and bring them along, and they just kind of follow him along, And he dresses like a cult leader, classic white robes with funky designs on them and so on. And he's all about feelings.
Nothing more than feelings.
Yes, nothing more than feelings.
Share.
Hammond, where are you?
Yeah. So the basic essence of Cybot is about pain, about sharing pain. What what does that mean for him?
It's got to mean he's carrying around a buttload of pain of his own and doesn't want to deal with that and would prefer to deal with other people's pain.
Yeah. So is he actually? Do you think he's taking on the pain like the empath,
Uh,
or is he gaining some sort of weird leverage?
Well, I think that he's fooled himself into believing that his talents as a Vulcan have nothing to do with this, that he's just got this special gift of helping people with their pain. And then all of a sudden, um, they're enchanted by him. And, that's the first thing that tells me he's not freeing anybody from anything. He's enchanting them.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. when that spell is broken, people go back to being who they were. And
yeah, that happens with the crew, and it happens with David Warner.
yes. Now, David Warner, at this point, circumstances make him more optimistic, I think, because he's cynical. So it has had an effect on him, I think. But also, I think the circumstances of the cooperation with the Klingons has brought out a little more optimism in him as well. And being around these people. So there was an effect. I'm not saying there wasn't, but they're not going around being enchanted for the rest of their lives.
No. It's just had an effect on him. Yeah.
I think to a degree he's so caught up in his own cause here, or specifically with this, because this is the only time I've ever seen the character of Cyborg that
shows up by reference in the best episode, I think, of Strange New Worlds.
Again, he's so caught up in his own stuff that he's recruiting these people because he does believe in his own stuff. He believes that there is this higher existence, whether again, he learned about it. It sort of was a myth.
There's a parallel between him and the entity too.
Yeah, there is.
Starship too.
Yep, and I would say that by the end of it, he kind of realizes his own arrogance. So I'm going to compare this. He has a road to Damascus moment, and he plunges headfirst.
Was he becoming homophobe afterwards?
No,
not that street in Damascus.
Not a big fan of Paul.
But you know what I'm saying. He has that moment, and he goes, which I do feel redeems the character a bit. So,
yeah,
absolutely. I mean, he makes the ultimate sacrifice once he realizes his error of his ways in order to save those he's brought along with him.
Bill's not going to get his rock men.
Yeah.
You know about that. There's
a lot of... and the pain healers.
There are a lot of strange stories about Star Trek V, and it makes me appreciate the Shatman even more, because when he finally gets the chance to sit down and make a Star Trek movie, he makes this, which is a very weird film. And I don't think it gets enough credit. I think everyone's expecting it to be Wrath of Khan or one of these other things. And no, it's Star Trek V. And God bless it. Let it be that.
Absolutely.
Because it really is a tall order from the chat, because every other Star Trek film since Star Trek the Motion Picture, even including Star Trek the Motion Picture, is about the characters having to adjust to some bit of newness, largely oriented with the ship. It does not have, here they are together going on missions.
Right.
And this is a movie that has them together going on missions. And so I think his relationship in real life with those challenges and comforts and questions, I think has some merit.
Sure. And there's an intimacy between these characters, and these three guys got along fairly well in real life. As a matter of fact, he and Nimoy, although they had a few loggerheads, they ended up becoming closest of friends, I would think, through that. So there's some reflection of their relationship as the characters, obviously, going on here. And they do stay together. These are the Three Musketeers. Ultimately, it's the three that resist and stay, sentient in their own minds instead of Cybok's mind or whatever is going on with that. So that to me is the interesting thing about that, the development of the relationships when they're on shore leave and they get called away, and all that stuff, but they're like trying to do campfire stuff, and it's funny, it's ridiculous and it's silly, but at the same time it's sort of that relationship building stuff that's going on.
Exactly. You're both weird choices.
Really.
Again, it's a very weird for grown men to be singing.
Very childlike. Yes, it's a childlike song to be singing. Now, Michael Rove Ashore is different. That's Kumbaya, and adults do that all the time. But yeah, and I think they chose it because it was kind of absurd, and they couldn't get Spock to do it initially. Let's do a round, Spock. Let's do a round. No, no. I'm trying to figure out the words, what the words mean, all that sort of things going on.
Too busy contemplating marshmallow.
Yes, it's marshmallow. Yes.
So Shatner conceived his idea for the film story before he was officially given the director's job. His inspiration was televangelists. The televangelists were repulsive, tragically horrifying, and yet I became absolutely fascinated. He recalled Shatner was intrigued that not only did these personalities convince others God was speaking directly to them, but they became wealthy by what Shatner considered false messages.
Yes, and Sybok isn't quite that ridiculously drawn, obviously, but there's inspiration there, sure, because he's a cult figure.
So here, I have a weird question. Who officially creates the character of Sybok as a writer?
He creates it's hard to tell. I mean, they created parts of him.
Okay, so
Paramount owns him.
Right.
So they're probably officially giving it to the writers rather than Shat, but I mean, Shat probably had, as you said, had some input to it, had an inspiration for it.
Yeah, because there's
the writers probably shaped and crafted it and said, we can't make this guy a caricature. We have to, do something a little bit more challenging.
Too late.
Well, Larry Luckenbill would have turned it down if it were a caricature, I have a feeling, because he's a well-respected stage actor,
yeah, he played LBJ. That's a walking.
Well, it is a character, but it's also a historical figure.
Sure.
Well, you know who they wanted for the role of Sybok, right? Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Hence Shakari.
That's right.
As opposed to Shaka Khan.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
But of course, Sean would have walked on the set and slapped everybody upside the head and said, "Follow me."
Would have been it. I would have done it. Yeah. So Shatner's original plot to the movie is even weird. Oh, is much weirder.
Even weirder.
Oh, you don't know about this?
No. I
have
no idea.
Well, okay. So Sybok shows up and takes them to the planet, and instead of being heaven, it's hell. It literally is rings of hell. It is hell.
Right.
And the devil is there as your host. And so the devil wants to sell your soul, of course. Yawn. And so Shatner decides to play along for now and then pull out the aces when the time is right. But the time is never right. And they changed the plot pretty considerably because Paramount objected to this. The whole
sounds like a season 3 original series plot line.
This movie is the closest to the original series of any of them.
Yeah.
And let's not dignify it, Mr. Meyer. Let's wallow. And it wallows in the worst of Star Trek, and I love that. I love the worst of Star Trek, and I love the best also. It had McCoy being taken in.
Yes.
It had Spock, I think, being taken in, and so surprise, Shatner is the only one who didn't get it taken in. Sorry, my cat's scratching my hand again. He loves to do. So where that actor would have turned up, I don't know. But the Paramount just went nuts. They said you cannot have
Star Trek in hell.
Star Trek in hell. I mean, what are the Cenobites going to show up? So Shatner, when he took it, and he made it increasingly sort of just toned it down to be sort of this sort of weird new age hack.
Yeah. Which is exactly what it is. I mean, it's a new age guru kind of guy. Again, it's a cultish kind of thing.
There's a little Warren Earhart in there too.
Mm-hmm.
And manipulating this group and playing on their fear. Yeah.
Somebody needs to make a picture of Captain James T. Kirk William Shatner holding the Hellraiser puzzle box, just on that.
Going, Spock,
Spock.
what do I do?
Yes.
Do I turn this?
Yes, exactly.
It's in Spock's viewer.
That's right.
And Spock's going through all of these different possible configurations because he's got it shielded. And so he can do that safely. Unfortunately, the box explodes, and the cube is doing its thing, and they stop it? Or they let it go? But it's on another ship. Spock's been manipulating it on an entirely different ship just because he knows how dangerous it is.
Yes. He knows that if he's actually exposed to it directly, he'll go into a permanent pon farr and never come out.
Exactly.
Vulcan boner forever.
I do love all the dialogue in this movie. Everything is so crisp.
They're buddies, They're working that whole relationship thing. I really do. They're bros, in a lot of ways. And
there's tremendous rapport.
Getting throughout these 5 movies, it just keeps getting more and more and more of that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that aspect of it, I really enjoyed a lot.
So it's almost like you have a theory, you have testing of it, and then you have a little testing again to deal with, maybe those negative parts, the parts that, the tests that you had problems with.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I kind of look at it.
But that's how relationships go too. They're tried by external and internal influences. So you've got those challenges there, and you've got that sort of thing. Of course, in this one, the most direct challenge is, of course, Spock, and he has a brother who's being a real, head case and a threat, even though he doesn't understand the kind of threat that he's being.
Call Sarek.
Yeah.
Get Sarek. Dad's going to show up. He's going to be mad.
Yeah, that's right.
Sarek's going to take off his
father. Bring the paddle.
Yeah. Vulcan corporal punishment has got to be. It's all up here.
No, it's exactly it. It's the Vulcan mind meld. Only it's a punishment grip.
It's Vulcan guilt meld.
Yes.
Yeah. What's some of you guys' favorite scenes from this movie?
I was just about to say. Well, I like a lot of this movie. This movie is very underrated. It's a strange fun. I love the Empire stuff. That goddamn son of a damn playing games with life again. Yes. Which I would cut over and there'd be a game, the board game Life. Yes. But I have to say, because I've been paid, seeing McCoy's pain and seeing Sarek, there's a very dark view of saying, "Oh, so human."
Mm-hmm.
Weird. Boy, you wouldn't let Amanda hear him say that.
No. I don't think that Amanda ever heard him say that. I do not think so. But also the fact that they overcome that trauma, that that's supposed to make them sort of hypnotized, and they overcome the trauma and they say, no, we'll stay here. We'll stay imprisoned rather than go with you. We think you're that wrong.
Difference though between the ability to redress and address the wrong that Spock has. Spock can get over it. Spock can try and establish the friendship, and Bones
gets over it after this. So there was some therapeutic, or at least he gets over long enough.
Yeah,
there was some therapeutic. He gets enchanted for a couple of minutes, but then he realizes, oh, these are my brothers. I'm not leaving them.
Yeah, and I love that aspect of it, because this was the era of the great Chuck Norris, Bring Them Back Alive, Invasion, whatever those movies are. There's always some guy they have to go get.
Yes,
you from whether it's some incredibly high intensity heist or
Or they're going into the Nam to rescue some MIA guy or something.
yeah, or just it's someone who's at a Denny's that's run out of ham, and so I can't have
They
moon.
have to deliver it before it's too late.
Speaking of songs and musical numbers, there's of course the Hiroshima's immortal classic, "The Moon's a Window to Heaven," and
The Moon Over the Mushroom, is that the Hiroshima?
Hiroshima's the name of the band.
Yeah,
It's on the soundtrack album, and yeah, Jewel has never done a fan dance.
haven't lived.
But
How do
we
you
can change
how do
that.
you how do you know I haven't done a fan dance?
That's true. That's true. Because your wife would be talking about it. It's a big celebration.
You're complaining about all those huge feather fans in the closet.
Well, that would be true too. So some of my favorite scenes in this movie, I love when you get the review of who Cyborg is to Spock in the jail cell.
Yeah.
He's my brother. No, I get he's a Vulcan. No, he's literally my half brother, and you get that reveal. And him not being able to shoot Cyborg too was really okay. You get all that. Again, I love the desert. I love the whole desert scenery. Cyborg comes there, takes over the place. You get the hypnosis. You get him brainwashing people. And you guys are right. The Three Musketeers do not succumb to the brainwash, but they do see this whole planet thing, and they're intrigued. Okay, what is this?
Sure.
And they go down there and check it out. Love it. I give this movie a 12. What do you guys give it?
It's a good 10 for me. I like it. It's a departure in some ways, as Patrick has mentioned, in that it has an oddness to it, but it's a very friendly oddness.
It's appropriate for
Yeah.
first real Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
That's not dealing with the characters going and doing weird stuff. And it forms, I think, the epilogue on what's a very interesting accidental trilogy, which is Star Trek's 2, 3, and 4. And those films ultimately are about the moment when they decide that they're all going to answer for their criminal activities. Because what do they have? They don't have the ship. They don't have their ranks. They don't, and as it turns out, those things never mattered. Why doesn't Sulu take command of the Excelsior and so on and so forth?
Right.
He's already home.
Right.
He doesn't need to. He's already home. And that's a thing that got ignored a lot when they said, "Well, why don't you take this job? Why don't you get out of this?" No, he's home. And that is about, those three movies are about these guys realizing that they're family. And yet Kirk holds on to the last vestiges of emotional self-flagellation with things like I'll die alone.
Yeah.
Ultimately I know I can't count on the two of you, which is pretty much what he's saying. And he learns he could always count on them without asking. They were always there.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's a really moving thing to have characters say.
Yeah.
And act on. So
it's a deeper concept.
It is. It is. I really wish that they had made a bigger deal of studying Cyborg's background. Now, ratings and critical reviews on Strange New Worlds are tanking, but it still has some life left in her, and I think getting those characters on there for at least an episode would be interesting.
Cool. Yeah.
I think leaving the character how it was, because you're left with a lot of mystery to him. Like, where did he hear this? Like, who taught him this myth? Right? Would be interesting.
Yeah, the only thing we get is that he's rejected logic and that he's got feelings of his ancestors, and he makes mention to these mythological God-seeking things that he's been learning about and so on, and he's made certain conclusions about. That's all we get really from it.
classic rebellion, teenage sort of rebellion.
Yeah.
Here's the thing you shouldn't have. Well, I want that. And I'm sure there were all sorts of sleazy underground, emotion experts and so on.
Sure.
It would lead
Having coffee house orgies and so on, beating.
Well, yeah, and just imagine, Sarek gets this call from the cops. Guess where Spock is?
Yeah.
He's at the coffee house talking to
Cybok again. Get him out
there. Yeah, like Cybok's back in town. How often do I have to get him back into graduate school?
Well, I've noticed that all of the Vulcan whiskey is gone, so Cybok is definitely back in town.
Like, you can't join Starfleet like your brother.
Oh my gosh! Is there anything you guys want to add about the movie before we go?
Yeah, it's a great deal of fun, and I think it's a sort of a fitting evolutionary story.
I'll just give one other weird bit of trivia.
Sure.
He wanted Travanian to write the screenplay, and wrote the Iger sanction.
Yeah,
and he wanted Eric von Lustbader to write the screenplay. They wrote The Ninja. And then he wanted Richard Bach to write the screenplay. And Bach came pretty close to doing it, which I think would have been a really wacky movie.
It would have been somewhat different, no doubt about that.
Somewhat, yeah. Why you get Castaneda to write it while he's at it?
Yeah, that's right. The Yaki way. That basically they would turn Cybok into Don Juan.
Don Wells.
Don Wells, yes.
Yeah, because
Don Wells in hell. It's good. That's sad.
Yeah, because Harv Bennett was like really busy and really like burned out at this time. He was like not.
Just give me a producing and a story by credit. I'm out of here.
Let's talk about forced implosion. Bennett had been trying to get his Starfleet Academy movie for some time. And the description in Shatner's book, Star Trek Movie Memories, of that series, I think is pretty good about, how Bones and Spock and Kirk met back all at the Academy somehow. And they've been friends ever since. Not that it makes a goddamn bit of sense in terms of the timeline of any of these characters. But,
yeah. It made more sense if, like, he met Bones at the Academy. I don't know about Spock.
Well, Spock had probably, in real time, Spock was that much older than both of them.
Yeah.
He'd already probably gone through it, and he'd been doing some other project somewhere on some other starship before he took the science officer job on the Enterprise. I always figured Spock was at least in his 60s or something, because they're a long-lived species, and he looks 35, but maybe he's 65.
Yeah.
Guys, we should review Samurai Cop one day.
I'd rather review Cop and a Half, starring Emmanuel Lewis and Burt Reynolds.
Oh my God!
Do that on a double feature with Mac and Me.
Samurai Cop's a fun movie.
PO'd about doing that movie than I would have been Boogie Nights.
It's a fun movie.
There is a film, in fact, I will suggest, which it's a wacky one, but in talking about Roddenberry, who floats on the outside of these discussions so much, God, there's an episode. Oh yeah, Pretty Maids All in a Row.
Oh my God!
It's a fun movie. It's a really good.
It is. It's so tacky, and so it is fun. It's like a Jackie Collins novel or something.
Well, I think you'd have a good time with it. I really do. And it's got everybody's got James Doohan running around in it, Keenan Wynn,
and it's toned down from the novel. The novel has some rather graphic sex scenes in it, but they've toned it down a bit. Although I have to admit, I wonder how they convinced Rock Hudson to take on this character. I mean, he is so morally just in a fog,
Well, and he wears the caftans.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Like Shelley Winters if I dressed up like that.
Well, Angie Dickinson is hot in Pretty Maids. She's pretty. She's on it.
Yeah.
I think this is just before she did Policewoman. Actually, is when this movie came out.
Right. And then that takes us back to Dark Shadows.
Yes.
Because Earl Holliman,
Yes.
the husband of Olivero,
Tony.
yeah, Tony Peterson.
Yeah.
Well, not Tony Peterson.
Not Tony Peterson.
It's who? Burt Devlin.
Yes. Anthony George.
Anthony George.
Yeah.
Octavio was his real name.
Anthony Curious.
Endicott, New York.
Yeah. With a
yes.
Too deep. Could you have Anthony George play Peter Wingard's brother and just get it over with?
Brother.
Well, it was like Akbar and Jeff.
His
His
live-in cousin.
Well, that's Pat Savage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, it's been a fun discussion. Obviously, I'll see you guys tomorrow for what's the next Star Trek movie?
Greg Six.
The final insult. No.
Yeah.
This is a good movie.
It's a really good movie. It's a joke about so many. It's just, but for the most part, this is one series that really adhered to some good quality, I think.
Yeah.
And it's been a pleasure.
I'm not sure I want quality mixed up with my Star Trek, but let's go and see what happens.
Well, it's expensive anyway now. Okay.
Very quality show, making the ha.
Well, that's a question. Like even for now, when you look at like what Paramount isn't doing correctly, okay, what's
so much to choose from?
Yeah, right. Do you want quality?
I mean, it's weird because for a show that was like canceled twice. Right. And really only found its biggest audience in syndication. It's become saturated. It's like they're trying to do with Star Wars right now. They're saturating it. Yeah. Some of the Star Wars stuff is very good, don't get me wrong, but some of it's just saturation. And of course with these series, the Star Trek series, some of them have come across very well, and others have been like, oh, you guys are just trying to fill holes here. Trying to fill a hole in the schedule with more Star Trek. Be better off not to do that, I think. So as not to dilute the overall quality of the mythos.
I'm going to compare it to sort of like a video game franchise in a sense. Instead of making something bad and calling it Star Trek, why not just call it something else?
Just not make something bad.
Or just not making something bad,
and spend $50 million.
Yeah, pretty much. So, all right, guys. Link to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Day Book of Vows is going to be in the description box. Link to Alan Gallant's YouTube channel. Colin's Port After Dark will be in the description box. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have a good one.
Gentlemen.